Hi everyone, it's me Cheryl. I hope you're all alright. I know it's been another long while, however, I do have finished objects. Okay? Objects, not objects. So I have been doing stuff. The first couple I'll show you is what I last mentioned in my last video because I was almost on the edge of finishing them, so I'll bring them first before I move on to other things. Some of you may have seen this already, if you're my Facebook friend. And I will insert the picture in this video because it always looks much nicer on that model, and it's this. Isn't that beautiful? That's actually this way. I just folded it over because it naturally goes that way or the other way, it doesn't really matter. But this is the Down the Rabbit Hole shawl by Erin Donahue, and the pattern was gifted to me by Marie. Get the right person this time. It's because two different people with the same first initial gifted me two different patterns, and I don't want to get them both mixed up. Credit where credit is due, so thank you for that, Marie. That was really nice. It's a lovely pattern, Down the Rabbit Hole. I was going to show you what yarn I made it in, but the camera is actually resting on top of that box. Actually, I'll go and get another one and I'll show you. Alright, so I made it with this yarn, and it's actually this colour, and this is it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, I think. Let me check. Oh yes, 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, and it was 150 grams and 600 metres. These actually look better than how they were. Actually, no, they look nice. They look nice in the cake and they look nice in the project. I don't think many people would have been. I was a bit surprised as well, but once I realised what was happening, I was okay with it. It's very nice. I'll just put that on for the moment while I'm talking about it. It's you can't be surprised to see knots, okay? The problem with knots, obviously, is like, oh no, it's a knot. But then when you realise what's happening here, you realise why there's a knot. So it starts off with 4 strands of one solid colour. And after a certain length of time, which seems like forever, of course it does in the beginning, it seems like forever. Towards the end it seemed less, but still a fair amount. One of the swatch strands is gone. Now these aren't plied together, the separate strands, but together in the yarn. And I just so have one here to show you. There you go. Can you see? It would be better if I actually show you the lens and not the screen. Okay, so there's 4 different strands. So after a while, one of the strands is gone and it introduces the other colour. And again, after another time, an extra strand is gone and it introduces that second colour still. And then the third, and then the fourth, right? So for a while you have another solid colour. And then, how many colours are in this? Then it does the next colour, one strand at a time. So you still have 3 strands of the first, the original colour, and then one strand of the new colour, and then one by one they're replaced. So it looks like this was actually 3 colours. So there's purple, dark green, and it's more like a cream, I suppose. No, it's a beige. I can't decide. Because it bleeds from one green to the other, it does actually look like it's a lighter shade of green for a while. Here it's a bit more obvious as to the colour change, where it goes from purple to the green. Because it's a starkly different colour, whereas I think that one looks like it's just slightly different shade before it eventually goes to a completely different colour. So yeah, that's the nature of that yarn, and the knots might be off-putting for some people, which is perfectly understandable. But yeah, just thought I'd FYI that for you in case anybody was curious about this yarn. Is another finished object, which was a former UFO. Now usually how my projects become UFOs, it tends to be because, depends what time of year. If it gets to this time of year, I'm dropping projects I'm working on to get Christmas things done. and that's usually what happens. And sometimes they don't see the light of day for a while. And with this one, I think it was the same, because I remember beginning it in August. I did quite a bit. And then when I came to do the next part of it, I totally forgot what I did on one side. Anyway, it's called the Erin Top, and it's by... I'm sorry, I forgot. It's by somebody, and the link will be in the description. But it's the Erin Top, and it's Tunisian crochet. And there you go. And after I did all that, doesn't fit me. I didn't do a gauge swatch. I just thought, yeah, that's the right size. And yes, it was the right size, but yarn behaves differently. And also, even though it's DK weight yarn, it's worked and with a 6mm hook, Afghan hook. I still think it's too thick for me for where I live. I'm having a problem with... I'm just hot, really, at the moment, of late. I'm just quite hot. And even in the winter, it's quite mild here where I live now. If it was further up north, maybe they'd have a better chance of being worn. But anyway, the original pattern was just straight across and joined at the shoulders. Well, I enhanced it. I did shaping on the neck, as you can see, and a little bit on the back as well. I'll just show you the dip, because you can't see it as much from the front. And I also did a crab stitch all the way around. Oh, that was after I did a single crochet all the way around. The other thing I did as well, oh yeah, I did the same single crochet first of all the way around, then crab stitch. So that's the sleeve holes. I also made it longer, and I didn't fasten it at the bottom on both sides, as you can see here. Of course, I've got a better picture of it on the model, so I'll do that, and it will show you the split there. So it's the split up the sides, and again, I did the... I didn't do the crab stitch this one. I just did a single crochet along on both sides, and it looks fabulous. But I'm not going to wear it. I just wonder if I'll do something for me, and I think, nah, it's too thick. It was the same with the Scuddy, lovely Scuddy. I love doing the head part of it. Came to do the scarf, and it was like, oh, it's so long. And then I won't wear it. I'm just too hot. Okay, next project is another UFO. I started it originally primarily because it was a travelling project. November 2014, and we were nearly at November 2017. I finished this, it must have been August, because my last video was July, and I was finishing one thing off. Yeah, I finished off this, as I showed you at the beginning, and I started on that to finish it off. And if you remember one of my videos many years ago, I said, oh, I don't think the pattern's quite right, because I've had to make sure if I work at an odd number, it works out fine, but it wasn't working out before. Well, when I looked at it, this mistake was glaring at me, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, it's not froggable yarn. What am I going to do? And I thought, okay, just try and frog it. It might work. And it did. Luckily, it did. It's a struggle in places where it just seemed to knot together, but it was fine. I actually did it without snipping the yarn or anything like that, and I resumed, corrected the mistake, and I think it was that mistake that set off the whole thing, where I thought the pattern was wrong and it wasn't. It was me all along. At least I know it's me, and I will admit I was at fault. Anyway, I finished it off, and not only did I finish it off, I changed the edging as well. I think it said a crab stitch edging, and I did a picot, but it's called A Sort of Half Circle Shawl by somebody. I couldn't find the name on the pattern, but it was on the Ravelry page. But I will put the link in the description. Anyway, it's this. It's gorgeous. So you can see the picots on the bottom there as I come closer. And isn't that lovely? And I've got that on the model as well. But this one, will actually instantly look nice on here. There you go. How's that? Is that pretty or what? And that was made with James C. Brett oyster. I nearly said marble chunky then. No, not marble chunky. James C. Brett oyster. And, oh, it's not there. Put it away. I do have some of that. I didn't quite use 2 skeins. So I've no idea what to do with the rest of it because it's too small to make a project. But I do have more of it. 2 skeins in like a creamy colour and 2 skeins in, might be black. God, why did I do that? Black. Anyway, but if I can incorporate it with either of those for something in the future, I can use it up. That would be awesome. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I'm dead chuffed with that. And actually, when I do log it on my Ravelry page eventually, because I keep forgetting to put project on there, if I put every single project I actually did on my Ravelry, oh, it'd be huge. Anyway, you know how you call your project a certain name? I'm actually going to call this one Auntie Mary. Because I was travelling up to Middlesbrough in November on the train, and I was working on that, and I said to my parents, I'll be your chauffeur for this weekend, because that was not long before then. My dad was given instructions by the doctor not to drive anymore, and he didn't, but he still kept his car for a while, and my brother used it, and that weekend I used it, and I took them everywhere. I took them to the doctors, took them to the pharmacy, took them to my cousin Paul, and I took them to see my Auntie Mary and Uncle John. And my Auntie Mary, she died in February this year. You will have known about it in one of my previous videos this year. And I was working on this in her house. My mum said, oh, you're not going to bring your crochet in, are you? And I can sort of see why she would say that, because it's like rude, you know what I mean? But then again, I just got it out. Oh, my auntie, she lit up. It was like, oh, she was so curious, and I'm so glad I brought it in the end. So I thought, I'll name this after her. So that'd be so nice. Anyway, okay, I made a hat. I saw an amazing idea on YouTube, and I thought, yes, I will do that, and I did. And it looks great. I'll show you it in a minute, and I'll tell you the story about it. So there you go. It's called Helix. So what happens is that you have a couple of yarns, at least 2. I use 3, as you can see here. And I did knit 2, purl 2, rib all the way around. And then when you start onto the knitting bit, after so many stitches, evenly spaced out, you bring in your other colour. And so many stitches, you bring in your third colour. When you get to your first colour, yes, no, you don't pick up your first colour. Yes, you do. You pick up, when you, oh God, I'm not describing this very well, am I? So you knit, okay, I'm just going to call these colours, that'll be easier. Black, so I started with black. After the ribbing, you knit for a third of the way around. Okay, then I brought in, I don't know whether it's pink or purple, let's just say purple. Brought in purple for the third of the way around, and then I brought in pink for the third of the way around. And when it meets up with the black again, you pick up the black. And then you go around again until you meet the next colour yarn. You pick up that, knit around until you meet the next colour yarn. You do not twist at all, no twisting, because what it does, it helix. I think I was searching for double helix knitting or something, and I didn't find it. I found this instead. Okay, this is where the pink started, for instance. But then, if you follow it around, you don't see any jogs. It just gradually goes up, because there you can see a purple. And basically, if you just follow that line all the way up where the purple joins it, you can't see any jogs, because it just gradually goes up itself, and it does look even, and it's like, oh, so you're not fighting against the fact that it's going to go up one, you're just following it around, and it spirals. Ending it in black was hard. Well, no, I was going to try and end it as in the colour, but it's when the 2 colours met at the decrease, that's when I started to have a problem. So I did it as far as I could, and then I just finished it all in black. When I put this hat on No, I did. Right, okay. This, and I know this what yarn this was, and I looked at the gauge and I thought, yeah, I'm pretty much the gauge, right? So I thought, okay, so I cast on the amount of stitches, 120 stitches. I should have really cast on 112 because when I tried it on, it was there. So not only was it too big, it was too long. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I looked online for some advice, and somebody had already had the issue. So basically, it's a slouchy now, and I aligned this. So I made a headband of fleece to fit, say, somebody my size head, and then it will actually work. So there you go. So it looks a bit big here, and it looks like a bit of a slouchy, but not much of a slouchy, but it's better than nothing. I rescued a total disaster, but that was a lesson learned. Do not do 120 stitches with DK weight yarn. Do 112. That might work, because I figured that would work better. Alrighty, now I'll go on to this. I'm going to have to take a photo of this on the model because it always looks better on the model. Okay, this is I think it's called Pixie Ruffle Scarf. Isn't that cute? And I suppose I could have done it for a bit longer, but I just wanted it finished with. And yeah, because like I've got another skein plus that left over. This is what yarn it is. It's called Sirdar Sylvan. And it's... I should actually not put the label down when I'm still talking about it. It's, it says 6.5mm. Why did I use 10? Oh, I used 10 because of the pattern, but that was fine. I needed to open it up a bit. And it's one of these yarns that's thick and thin, and I was finding that hard to deal with in places. The other thing I was finding hard to deal with is that it sheds like an animal, so my black trousers had lots of hair all over it. But anyway, this is it, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't look that good on me, especially with what I'm wearing. It's not quite right for this. It's going to look better on the model when I take a picture. But that's it, and it looks really nice. I got this for Christmas last year, 2016. I need to say 2015, where am I? So I thought, what am I going to use it for? And I sat on it for ages, not really knowing what I was going to use it for. And I'm glad I used it for that. Turned out really nice. So I think this one plus the other skein, because it's only 50 grams, I think I'll just do a scarf straight up, but I don't know what pattern yet or anything. Two more hats to show you. One I've already done, but I did the beanie version, okay, and that went to my youngest brother. And I liked that pattern quite a lot, and I thought, I want to do the brim version, which is just basically some ribs, extra ribs on the roll on the bottom, and fold it over. So I got the yarn, one of the yarns that was actually recommended, in a couple of different colours, so I'm going to make another one or two of those hats because I've got intended recipients for them. So this is the first one I made. Isn't that gorgeous? It actually suits the brim rather than the beanie, because if you watch my video it will be after February, so it's probably March or April time, or even May, I don't know. You'll see the beanie in there because I mentioned it then. So that's that. So I like it with the brim. It actually looks quite good. You suit that, Jack. So I'm gonna. That's Cascade 220. So I've got some more yarn of that different colour. So I will be making another one or two of them. I've also made another couple of loom hats. Well, sorry, I've made one loom hat, and there's another one on the loom at the moment, and it's child size. So I had to do fewer rows that I'm used to. And I also didn't want it too tight on the brim, so what I did with the brim, I just did the normal 1/1 with a brim, and then when I got to this part I did the 1/2, to thicken it up, because it was kind of it seemed kind of loose on the you know, the second largest loom ring on the round looms. It just seemed kind of open, where you didn't really get that effect with the brim because it's doubled over. Whereas the rest of it I would have, and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I want to 1/2. So I did 1/2, and I did fewer rows. I'm not going to put a pom-pom on because it's going to be for a boy. And that's that. The other one, I'll show you the colour of it. It's the same hat, but this one's an adult size, and it's on the loom at the moment, but it will end up this size. So this what's the other one's going to look like, because it's the same yarn as that, same colour. But as you can see, there's a size difference, and certainly there as well. See if we could show you better this way, where the size difference is. See what I mean? It's a bit more on that side. But at least you know that this size hat is going to look like this. Is that everything? Yes? No? No. A couple more things to show you. One of them is like a half a finished project. I've still got the other one on the needles, and it's a sock, that's why it's half finished. So it kind of qualifies as a finished object. So that's one. The first one of a pair of socks for my husband. And that is Opal Juicy Fruit, or Fruit Juicy, or just Juicy. But that's what it is, that's what that yarn is, and it's gorgeous. And he loves socks, so he's getting socks. My youngest son loves socks as well, so he's getting socks at some point. I just want to show you a picture of a blanket I'm making. It's this pattern. So, Sirdar 4821 is that? And it's that blanket, but I'm not doing it in that colour. But I only bought enough yarn to do the blanket, not the hat or the booties. I don't know why, but there you go. I just didn't fancy doing them. I fancy doing the blanket, and it's a totally different... Did I just say it was a different colour yarn? It's a different colour yarn. And that's... I'm on one of the outside rows at the moment. Where are we? There. Just seeing if I'm in the right place. There, the outside row. I'm onto that bit. So I've got a few more rounds of that to do. 3 more rounds of that to do, and then finish it off with different stitches. It's in English crochet stitches, and I learned the US terminology, so luckily it's the same all the way through, basically, apart from the edges. So my mind is got the pattern in my head now. I don't need to really consult with the pattern until it's changing what I need to do. So it's quite windy outside. I think it might rain. Anyway, okay, that is everything. My goodness, you weren't disappointed, were you? The content, spot on. Before I end this video, I don't know if any of you know, there's a meetup in Manchester if anybody's interested in going. If you're friends with Jan Carruthers or Zoe, 24 Carat Crochet, there's another person there, Kelly, I don't know her last name, and there's another couple of people who I'm not familiar with, but we're all going to Manchester on the 4th of November, 4th and the 5th. Well, I'm going 3rd to the 5th of November, so I'm staying overnight 2 nights, and meeting up with them all on the Saturday. So if anybody is interested in going, you may have already been added to the Manchester Meet group, but if not and you want to go, that's Manchester, United Kingdom, by the way. I'm pretty sure there's a Manchester in the United States somewhere. There's bound to be. Names are duplicated all over the place, aren't they? So if anybody's interested in going to that and you're not in the Manchester group, let me know and I can actually add you to the group so you can join us. You may already be aware of it, you probably are. So yeah, that's so I'm looking forward to that, and I'll let you know how that goes. So if you're thinking about going, that would be absolutely great. It'd be lovely to see you all. Right, that's everything. So I shall see you next time. Please like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.